Welcome to a series called The Prophecy of Enoch. We're going through the prophecy of Enoch because Enoch is the best example of what it'll be like in the days of Noah. And Jesus himself said it'll be like the days of Noah in the end times. So this gives us an idea of, well, what's that actually look like? So as we've gone through this book, we've hit chapter 10. And ultimately what's taken place here up until this point is angels, fallen angels, 200 of them, under the leadership, they're in their ranks, military ranks, which is interesting. And they have fallen and lain with human women and given birth to a race of Nephilim, and some of them being giants. And they also taught them how to manipulate metal, how to manipulate the things of the earth, the herbs, the chemicals, understand the moon and the stars, and even do makeup and jewelry and things like that. It's really all the things that God did not want of us. And as we see now, what they then did was because they were so powerful that they consumed mankind and enslaved mankind and made them work for them. And when mankind couldn't keep up with them, then they ate mankind, literally. So that's kind of where we're at right now. At that point, the angels, Michael, Uriel, Raphael, and Gabriel then pled with God, like, God, you got to do something about this. And now we're going to see God's response. Enoch 10, verse 1. Then said the Most High, the Holy and Great One, spoke and sent Uriel to the son of Lamech and said to him, Go to Noah and tell him in my name, hide thyself, and reveal to him the end that is approaching, that the whole earth will be destroyed, and a deluge is about to come upon the whole earth, and will destroy all that is on it. And now instruct him that he may escape, and his seed may be preserved for all the generations of the world. And again the Lord said to Raphael, Bind Azazel hand and foot, and cast him into the darkness, and make an opening in the desert, which is in Dudael, and cast him therein. And place upon him rough and jagged rocks, and cover him with darkness, and let him abide there forever, and cover his face, that he may not see light. All right, now let's kind of talk about this first consequence of Azazel, because if we go back, who Azazel was the leader of all these angels, was Semjaza. And Semjaza was then over a group of other angels who then were in charge of 20. So Semjaza was over them all, and then you had all these other angels who had 20 angels below them. But Azazel is not among them. The first that we hear of Azazel is really in chapter 8. So he's kind of this rogue soldier. He wasn't in charge. He just kind of went a little too far rogue. And Azazel is locked up into a pit, into utter darkness. And I want to take a moment and talk about that pit for a second, because it actually is still there. If you go to what we believe today is modern day Dudael, there is a spot in the desert with jagged rocks sticking out of it, and there's a hole that's believed to be dug up there. And the locals have always said, you don't dig up what's in that hole. This is a piece that you stay away from. And I really think this is an awesome example of just once again where we see things that Enoch was the great-grandfather of Noah. So we're talking caveman. Enoch was a caveman. And if we look at what he endured and we look at what he went through, and we could still see those things to this very day, that's very significant. So I think it's very important that as we see things that we can look at with our eyes today, that we can read about back in the days of Enoch, that we kind of take into check, maybe this is real. All right, let's keep going. And place upon him rough and jagged rocks, and cover him with darkness, and let him abide there forever, and cover his face, that he may not see light. And on the day of the great judgment, he shall be cast into the fire, and heal the earth which the angels have corrupted, and proclaim the healing of the earth, that they may heal the plague. Now what he's talking about, he's saying that Azazel will be locked up there until the final day of judgment, this particular day, because what we see in Revelation is there's two judgments. There's when Christ returns and he reigns on earth as a human for 1,000 years, there's a judgment of those who are alive on the earth at that moment. and a resurrection, the first resurrection of only those who died in tribulation. And we see that in Revelation 20. But then after the 1,000 years, that's when the final judgment. That's when the sea gives up the dead and the earth gives up the dead and everything is judged according to Jesus Christ. And ultimately, that's the moment. So Azazel will be locked up until this moment. We're going to go to Revelation 20, verse 11. Then I saw a great white throne and him who sat on it, from whose face heaven and earth fled away, and there was found no place for them. And I saw the dead, small and great, standing before God, and books were open, and another book was opened, which is the book of life. And the dead were judged according to their works by the things which were written in the books. The sea gave up the dead who were in it, and death and Hades delivered up the dead who were in them. And they were judged, each one according to his works. Then death and Hades were cast into the lake of fire. This is the second death. And anyone not found written in the book of life was cast into the lake of fire. So ultimately, Azazel, because he taught mankind, well, the Nephilim, who ultimately also taught mankind, all these secrets that God really did not want revealed to humans because they lead to sin and death, is that he's still there, like to this very day in Dudael. And until we get to that final judgment day, that's where he will remain. So there you go. Any thoughts or insight, definitely put that below.